everyone, we're here at the Nürburgring. The sun is shining and it is hot, and in fact it is the hot phase of the DTM season 2019 because today maybe the championship is going to be decided. René Rast has 49 points ahead of Nico Müller, so it's going to be very, very tight. Fact is also that René Rast is in P2 and the man who is starting in pole position is Jamie Green. And Jamie, let me ask first of all, congratulations. I mean, in the very last moment you snatched pole position, but having René Rast right behind you, who's aiming for the championship title, what is it going to be like in the race?
Well, I don't know. We'll see how the start goes first and foremost, and then work from there. But I think René has a pretty healthy lead over Nico, and now it's only mathematically possible for an Audi driver to win the Drivers' Championship. So the teamwork is a bit more relaxed now, and I think René would probably be satisfied with second today in terms of his bigger goal, which is winning the championship. So, but yeah, we'll see how the race goes.
All right, I'm sure we're going to see an exciting race. Thank you so much, Jamie. Best of luck. And now to the commentator.
Thank you, Verena. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Nürburgring and the site of the Nürburg Castle as the 3.629 kilometer track unfolds. And we look at the Jake Dennis, very tall Jake Dennis from Nuneaton in the UK. Nürburgring, not his favourite place, that's for sure. Whatever formula, whatever category he's raced in, he always thinks that he's never had the results at the Nürburgring that probably he deserves. Let's see if he can put that right for today. There is Daniel Juncadella then, with lots of interest around him and being involved in conversations ahead of the start of the race. Danny Juncadella then going from P16 on the grid. For our Motorsport Aston Martin, regrettably, Paul di Resta will not be joining the grid. He had problems in qualifying, didn't set a time in qualifying. In fact, the car didn't come out of the garage, and subsequently he will not be taking part in the race. This man will, though. Ferdinand Habsburg in conversation there with, in the middle of your picture is Wolfgang Schattling from the R Motorsport organisation Aston Martin, and Ferdinand Habsburg then, he is going from P15 on the grid for today's race. So Jamie Green from pole position, René Rast from P2, and basically a huge points finish for René Rast, a P1, 2 or 3 probably means that he could be champion today. Nico Müller still mathematically in with a shout, but he's starting from P14 on the grid. So it's not where he would want to start, and being encouraged there by the head of ABT Sportsline, Thomas Biermeyer there, hoping for the best for Nico Müller. Let's hear from the man. P2 then, René Rast. Can he take the championship today?
And now I'm here with René Rast, and René, as cool as ever, but fact is today the championship could be decided. So at this point, if you think about that, can I just quickly feel your pulse? How is it? Cool as always, or do you feel a bit of pressure there?
It's even more relaxed than normal. Yesterday there was pressure, today a bit less. Obviously we have a bigger point lead compared to yesterday, and Nico starting from P14. Still anything can happen, but our chances are quite big, to score big points today. But one safety car and then it's looking different again. So yeah, we need to stay focused and maximize what we have, and then let's see what happens after the race.
All right, well, best of luck. It's going to be very exciting, that's for sure. Thank you so much, René. And now back to you.
Thanks so much. Well, he's absolutely right. And we have seen on countless occasions when you think everything is in the bag in DTM, all of a sudden, something happens that means it isn't. Jamie Green did a supreme job in qualifying and put the car in pole position. Beat René to pole position by 1/1000th of a second. That's how close it was and how close it is in DTM qualifying. Factor this in, 16 drivers within 9/10ths of each other in qualifying. It's monumentally competitive in DTM. Pietro Fittipaldi, one of the two independent WRT team Audi drivers. His qualifying time gives him P12 on the grid for Pietro Fittipaldi. What can he do from there? Well, he has been out-qualified by his teammate Jonathan Aberdeen, who will be going from P5 on the grid. And there is Philippe Eng, who had a very good race result relative to where he started yesterday, because Philippe Eng, of course, started from the pit lane, and he'll be going from P11 on the grid today. And Philippe Eng is a real fighter. See what he can do when it comes to the 55 minutes plus 1 lap race to come. It's DTM race 2 here at the Nürburgring with an all Audi front row, Jamie Green and René Rast. And only right and proper that we hear from the Audi Sport Team Rosberg team boss, and that is Arno Zenzen.
So this is going to be very interesting. The team boss is here, Arno Zensen. I mean, we've got Jamie Green in pole position, and the guy it's all about because he could possibly snatch the title today. René Rast is right behind him. So first of all, my question is, how excited and nervous are you? And second of all, the even more important question is, do you have a strategy?
I'm more nervous like usual, and yes, we have a strategy and we have a team order as well. It doesn't matter who is winning the race, they only have not to crash each other. Everything else is free.
But that's phenomenal. That's good to hear because that's what we want to hear, and I think it's phenomenal that we probably see a battle here then maybe also.
Yes, that can happen for sure, yeah, why not?
And how nervous are you?
Very.
I bet. Thank you so much, Arno Zensen. Best of luck. And this is going to be a very exciting race. So back to the commentator.
He's so honest, isn't he? We do have a team order, and that team order is you can do anything but don't crash with each other. Alongside me, one of the R Motorsport Aston Martin drivers who races in Sprint GT Series, Ricky Collard, race winner. We saw a great DTM race yesterday, Ricky. Pressure is really on today, isn't it?
Absolutely, and obviously a good afternoon to everyone around the world watching today. I can't believe how busy Nürburgring is today, and also yesterday. It's been an absolute packed grandstand, and yeah, it's great to hear from Arno Zensen there saying that, you know, the guys can race, but you've got one rule: don't take your teammate out. That is the golden rule, but. It's great that he's going to let them fight, and I reckon we're going to see some real action because we know what Jamie Green's like, and Rast and Rocky and Friends and the young Aberdeen and Duval all in the mix.
And of course, as René has said and Jamie Green has said, you know, mathematically, it's going to be an Audi driver that wins the Drivers' Championship now. They've already bagged the Manufacturers' Championship, of course, but it is going to be an Audi driver that takes the Drivers' Championship. Who's it going to be? Obviously, René Rast is in the gun seat. There's no question about that. But mathematically, Nico Müller is not out of it yet, but he is starting from P14 on the grid. So it's quite a lot of work to do for Nico Müller. And unfortunately, in qualifying earlier on today, it was the qualifying result that means that Marco Wittmann is no longer mathematically in the Drivers' Championship fight. Let's hear from that BMW driver now.
When briefly before the race, speaking to a racer, he is joking about the weather. It looks, I guess, like he's a very cool driver. And Marco, once again, you're very cool, very relaxed. You're starting in P8, which is, of course, not very satisfying. And I guess at this point, the chase for the title is over with that, more or less. So my question now, what is your aim for the race?
Well, the aim is to have a good race result. There are 3 races to go, and there's still the aim to maybe finish on second place in the championship. So we tried to achieve a good result. Yesterday we started 11th and finished 3rd. So today we are a bit further up, not fully on the front rows, but who knows? I mean, the race is always action-packed, and I hope that I can improve a bit.
So hopefully we're going to see some good battles.
Yes, I hope so.
Me too. Thank you so much, Marco. Best of luck. Back to you.
And actually, probably, Marco, with the pressure of trying to gain every single point that he can, now that the mathematical equation means that he can't win the Drivers' Championship, means that he'll probably go into this race perhaps a little bit more relaxed. Mike Rockefeller was one of the really unlucky men yesterday. A fluid leak on the car meant they had to retire the car when he was in P2 and looking very, very comfortable in P2. He's done a great job in qualifying again today. He goes from P3 on the grid. And Ricky, for my money yesterday, Mike Rockefeller, until they had to retire the car, he looked really strong.
Exactly, that's what Rast was saying yesterday. He was the only guy that could take that fight to Rast.
Yes.
And obviously, when he unfortunately had that mechanical issue, Rast then had a huge gap then to the rest of the field. But be interested now with the pair of them starting second and third. And also, you know, we've seen Jamie Green, how aggressive he is, and what a great racer he is.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see the fight from the Audi boys today.
Well, Dieter Gas, we just saw on screen there. He's the head of Audi Motorsport, having already sealed the Manufacturers' Championship. He knows that the Drivers' Championship is going to go the way of Audi as well. So one assumes that even at the start of this race, Dieter Gas is a very happy man. Look at this place. Welcome to the Nürburgring. It's DTM Race 2 of the weekend, about to get underway. It's an extraordinary region of Germany, the Eifel region, which has hosted 79 DTM races since 1984, with the victory count going very much in Audi's favour. So wherever you look, this place is full of legend, of course. And it is an extremely challenging track, which always delivers great race entertainment for the thousands of race fans that make their way into this place, which is within sight of the Nürburg Castle, to enjoy the DTM race action. And there, as we get those live pictures, just about every vantage point here around this track is packed with spectators. I have to say, it is one of the busiest DTM weekends in terms of spectator numbers here at the Nürburgring I think I've seen in my year history of being with the DTM, Ricky. It's brilliant. The atmosphere is superb, isn't it? Absolutely. And you look, every single camera shot, every single angle, all you can just see is it lined with people. You know, it almost looks like what DTM was like 10, 15 years ago. It's absolutely packed. It's fantastic. And the reason for that is the show that these drivers and manufacturers put on is superb. And of course, we've got Hockenheim to come, and even more of an incentive for you to make your way to Hockenheim is, of course, we're being joined by some Super GT cars, and Ricky Collard. Jenson Button's going to be on the grid in one of those Super GT cars at Hockenheim. Absolutely. It's going to be great to see the Super GT crossover with the DTM. And for sure, you know, I'll definitely be trying to get along to Hockenheim to see all the action. And as always, Dave, you're bringing everyone the action live. Well, I'll do my level best. And of course, straight after Hockenheim, well, not straight after, but we will be heading off for a return visit to Japan with Super GT, as we'll take the cars, the DTM cars, over to Fuji. So Jamie Green then did a fantastic job in qualifying, a 1:20.0. In fact, he bested René Rast by a 1,000th. That's how close it is. And as I'm not bored of saying, there is just 9/10 that split the top 16. René Rast and Jamie Green share the front row, but it is critically Jamie Green on pole position. Then it's Mike Rockenfeller and Robin Freins going from P3 into P4, ahead of another good qualifying from Jonathan Aberdeen and Loic Duval. He goes from P6. Timo Glock and Marco Wittmann occupying all BMW fourth row of the grid, before we find Bruno Spengler and Sheldon van der Linde, all BMW once again on the fifth row of the grid, ahead of Philipp Eng and Pietro Fittipaldi going from P11 and P12. Joel Eriksson and championship contender Nico Müller, not the start he wants, going from P14. Then it's Ferdinand Habsburg and Danny Juncadella, ahead of Jake Dennis. And the car that's missing is the car of Paul di Resta from the grid, because regrettably, due to a technical issue, Paul di Resta didn't make qualifying and will not make the race. We split the screen with the two championship contenders, René Rast and Nico Müller. Nico, clearly, Ricky, is the one that has got a huge amount of work to do from P14 to keep his hopes, his championship hopes alive. And theoretically, Ricky, he needs René to fall over in some way, doesn't he? Yeah, definitely. You know, as they're both teammates, they don't want to wish bad luck on each other. But yeah, Nico really needs to deliver something special today. And, you know, if ever there's a time to shine, it's going to be now. And we've seen Nico put some fantastic performances in this year. Indeed, he's been a superb driver. But knowingly, as you and I stood here yesterday and Nico jumped the start, the pressure got to him, didn't it? And you see René with his years and years and years of experience. I mean, he always looks cool, doesn't he? And he's just able to seemingly soak up the pressure. And it just got to Nico a little bit yesterday, and it's very, very unusual for Nico to make a mistake. But that did for him in the race yesterday. Drive-through penalty all over, really, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty much. It's, you know, all these drivers on the grid are absolutely world-class. You know, all 17 or 18 drivers that are on the grid. So, you know, making mistakes, you're looking at the tiniest little errors, and that small mistake that he made yesterday, you know, has cost him massively in this championship, as we now get the 1 minute board or 15 seconds to go. He could all change. Everything could change though today, and please don't think it's done and dusted yet, because it isn't. We've got 55 minutes plus a lap to come. Okay, I think very unusually here at the Nürburgring, the most settled thing, the most consistent thing, is the weather. And I've never said that about the Nürburgring, where you can get all 4 seasons in one day, can't you? Rain, sleet, snow, the whole kabang. Actually, it's going to stay dry. There's no question about that. But you could have a safety car, you could have 2 safety cars, all sorts of things could be thrown into the mix. And we have seen René Rast with some DNFs this year. So who knows what's going to happen. But we are not very far away from finding out, because the cars, as you can see, are away on their formation lap. So as a racing driver, Ricky, what goes through everyone's mind now when you're on this installation lap, if you like? What are you doing? What are you focusing on?
So yeah, it's an interesting one. You know, you've got them butterflies a little bit when you're sat on the grid, and all of a sudden the door closes, everything's silent. They tell you to fire up the engine, and as soon as the engine fires up, all of a sudden the butterflies get scared and they fly off with it. So, you know, now it's important to build tyre temperature. A lot of the tyre temperature is built through the brakes. You'll see the guys accelerating hard and then braking, as Jamie Green looks like he's doing quite a fast formation lap to build tyre temperature. But again, it's interesting as well yesterday. In DTM, it's fantastic that they come out of the pits on these cold tyres. They don't get the opportunity, like what we see now, to build tyre temperature.
Sure. When you take your mandatory tyre stop, pit stop in the DTM, when you return out on the track, your tyres have not been pre-warmed, and as Ricky says, you've got to physically generate the temperature into those tyres once you return from that mandatory pit stop. Whereas now, there you can see, to the left-hand side of your screen, a very disappointed Paul di Resta, who sadly will not be making the start of the race. So you have to warm your tyres up from cold when it comes to the mandatory pit stop. But answer me a question here, Ricky, as a racing driver. You're Jamie Green, you're René Rast, you're on the front row of the grid, you've done your level best to warm your brakes and your tyres. You're the ones that's got to sit the longest in your grid boxes whilst everyone else gets to their grid box. Surely all the temperature you've built, you'll lose.
You do within reason, and that's why it's super important, you know, to build brake temperatures. We're just looking at the R Motorsport boss there, Dr. Florian, and obviously the R Motorsport cars are going to have the hottest tyres when they come onto the grid, because they're in the final position. So, you know, expect a good start maybe from the Aston Martins, and we as they do these fantastic at the burnouts they get to do to build tyre temperature.
We'll hear Jamie Green being guided into his grid box now on the team radio.
Slow down. 4, slow, 3, 2, 1, stop, good.
So Jamie Green is into his grid box. Aston Martin had, in my opinion, a very, very good run with Danny Ukadea yesterday, finishing P11 as René Rast is guided into his grid box. The rest of the cars make their way into their grid boxes. You have to be millimetrically perfectly in there. If you go over that white line in your grid box, Ricky, you could pick up a penalty, couldn't you?
Absolutely. They have to be, not only can they not go forward over the grid box, but they have to be inside the confines of the grid box as well. So they're slightly over to the left or slightly over to the right, as we see the final cars lining up, Dave.
Wow, here we go. Offset grid, of course, here. Pole position is on the left-hand side of the track, which means you're on the outside going into turn number 1 as we get the green flag from the marshal at the rear. Here come those red lights. When 5 red lights go out, we will be racing. DTM is go! And a good start from René Rast, good start from Timo Glock. Jamie Green, not such a good start. Could he get passed by Mike Rockenfeller as well? And Nico Müller falls back a little bit as well. So it's René Rast P1 before they even make it through turn number 1. He's into turn 2 now. Jamie Green is P2. Then it's Mike Rockenfeller. Then it is Loic Duval. And Robin Freins in a battle there with Timo Glock. Timo Glock on the outside, which gives him the inside, and he'll get past Robin Freins now. So the best of the BMWs is Timo Glock. But Robin Freins fights back now. Oh, Philipp Eng out onto the grass. This is the little cut through that loops the sprint track and the Grand Prix track here at the Nürburgring. And whilst all heck is breaking out behind, René Rast, of course, can focus on the clean air that he's got ahead of him and the clear track as he continues his quest. A little barging going on between Glock and Aberdeen now, and Aberdeen wins that little battle. And here comes Marco Wittmann. So Marco Wittmann absolutely slicing past Timo Glock as they head up towards the chicane. Big lock up from Bruno Spengler. Wittmann has got past Glock as they make their way through the chicane for the first time of asking, and into the final turn. And here comes Pietro Fittipaldi on the inside of Timo Glock. Timo really involved in some big battles going on further down the order. But as we put one lap in the book, it's Rast from Green, from Rocky, from Duval, from Freins, from Aberdeen. Then it's Marco Wittmann who's up into P7. Then it is Timo Glock. However, Timo Glock and Pietro Fittipaldi, Glock has gone around. Wow, that was brilliant avoidance by Sheldon van der Linde, who just managed to avoid clattering into the BMW of Timo Glock. Now, I don't know whether he did that on his own or whether there was a slight touch. Doubtless we'll get a replay of that, Ricky, but Timo was really involved in the battles there, sort of P7, P8, P9, and now he's right at the back, isn't he?
That was a great shame for Timo, as he made a fantastic start and then all of a sudden just started to get a little bit beaten up then as they went into the lap, but looked like just a small mistake, which is very uncharacteristic of Timo to make a mistake, but you know, the BMW's looking really racy on these opening couple of laps.
I think you're right. I think it was a mistake. I don't think he was touched by anyone. We're on with the splitter cam, my favourite camera of the lot, with Philipp Eng chasing down the car of Sheldon van der Linde ahead of him. As through the chicane, here comes Nico Muller then on the inside of Joel Eriksson. And he puts himself behind Bruno Spengler now. So on board with Nico Muller, just controlling the oversteer on the exit of that chicane. Nico Muller, of course, the man that's got a really... Oh, well, perhaps Sheldon van der Linde did touch Timo Glock. He's got a drive-through penalty for pushing another car. Somebody is locked up going into turn number 1, that's for sure. You can see the tyre smoke. Well, René Rast is not breaking away from Jamie Green quite as much as perhaps he would like. Let's see it again in replay. Well, actually, we didn't see that live, so there's no question about that. Sheldon is probably off Timo's Christmas card list now.
I think so. That was a massive shame. It was the lightest of touches, but you can just see how on the limit the cars are. And
at that particular turn-in point for turn number 1, you're on the limit plus some, aren't you? The car is very vulnerable.
Yeah, and he's just touched him as the car is unloaded.
Yeah.
And then drops down, but that's a massive shame. And yeah, I don't think Timo Glock will be buying him a beer after the race.
And Timo was looking really racy, to be fair. He's had a torrid season by his own admission. Right, Rast leads from Jamie Green. Then it is Mike Rockenfeller, Loic Duval, Robin Freins. Then it's Jonathan Aberdeen. Then it is Marco Wittmann. Behind Wittmann is Pietro Fittipaldi. You can just see him at the top of your picture now. Then it's Sheldon van der Linde, who of course is going to be coming into the pit lane to serve a drive-through penalty within 3 laps. That's the rule. Once you're given a drive-through penalty, you have to take it within 3 laps of that being awarded. So, if it stays this way, René Rast is champion. No question. He is P1 currently. However, he's only 7/10 ahead of Jamie Green. I mean, the pace between the two of them is very, very good. You would expect that, perhaps. Both engineered, of course, from the same team. And Rast and Green then P1 and P2. Nico Muller there continuing to fight his way up the order, which is all he can do. He can, as P2 in the Drivers' Championship, he knows that Sheldon van der Linde does take his drive-through penalty. The best that Nico Muller can do is just try and push himself as far up the order as he can. And there, as you say, Ricky, that was the slightest of touches. And to be fair, we didn't see that, which is why I said Sheldon did a good job in avoidance.
Yeah,
had we seen a couple of frames earlier, would have realised, well, actually, he punted him round.
Yeah, I don't think... I think Timo did such a good job to try and hold the slide that he did a bit of a Ken block and held it for such a long time, but then all of a sudden it was just the contact was too hard and the rear came round. But a massive shame for Timo. And yeah, it might be a little bit awkward in the BMW camp right now.
So Marco Wittmann is doing a good job. He's up to P7. There is Philipp Eng and there is Nico Muller. So Nico Muller has got to try and dispose of Philipp Eng ahead of him as we get a replay of the start here. Oh, and Aberdeen bogged down, didn't he? That allowed Timo Glock to get alongside him. Here we can see it from a slightly different angle. You can see that the P1 position, pole position, you're on the wrong side of the track, really, going into turn number 1. But both Mike Rockenfeller and René Rast at this point had almost got past Jamie Green. Jamie was able to make a good line through there and protect what became turn P2. René seemed to get that start nailed perfectly, Ricky.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of wheel spin still, but yeah, he obviously got a great initial launch, and then once the momentum's built up, you can then really sort of put your right foot down. But it's a very sort of mixed grid at the moment. Well, the Audi's are obviously looking extremely strong, but interested to see Muller isn't making the progress that we were maybe anticipating here at the start.
The problem he's not going to get any support from the drivers ahead of him. He's got no... he's got no Audi friends ahead of him, has he? He's got BMWs ahead of him, and, the first one of those is Philipp Eng, and Philipp Eng, former teammate of yours, he's no easy person to overtake, is he? And that's what Nico Muller has got to do. He's going through turn 8 now. Absolutely flat chat. Will he dive to the inside of Philipp Eng? Yes, he does! So Nico Muller hard on the brakes then, and that was a textbook overtake going towards the NGK chicane, but it's not all over yet because Philip gets a slightly better exit. We're on board with Philipp Eng now around the final turn. And Nico Muller, well, he executed that absolutely perfectly. That was a really good overtake from Nico Muller.
Yeah, super late on the brakes there, really good control, didn't lock up at all. It'll be interesting now to see if Philipp Eng does try and fight back, but the straight line performance from the Audi there looked really strong.
I agree with you. So Nico Muller finds himself now in P9 as he's put himself ahead of Philipp Eng and continues his quest to get as high up the order as he possibly can. The order is Rast, Green, Rockenfeller, then it is Duval, Robin Freins, Jonathan Aberdeen, then Marco Wittmann, then Pietro Fittipaldi, and then that man Nico Muller. So there's Bruno Spengler and Joel Eriksson, and in comes Sheldon van der Linde for his mandatory stop. Now he's already been down the pit lane once, of course, for his drive-through penalty, so clearly they're rolling the dice now and bringing him in for an early stop, Ricky.
Yeah, I think they're going to be hoping for a safety car.
Pit stop line and the brake balance.
6.7 was still a very good stop.
On the chicane now.
You're right. We always hear when drivers come in for a mandatory pit stop, don't forget your brake bias. Basically, I assume, Ricky, what they're saying is now you've got a fresh set of rubber on, you need to adapt your brake bias from front to rear. Is that true?
Yes, that is, but there you see Nico Muller going down the inside. Pretty textbook stuff, really. Philipp Eng, not much he could do with it. He tried to defend it a little bit, but Nico Muller super late on the brakes there.
For everything we say about Philipp Eng, he's a great driver, but he's a fair driver, isn't he? If someone was alongside him, he's not going to barge them, is he?
No, he's going to be hard with you though, that's for sure. And I think half the drivers on the grid can vouch for that, but yeah, hard but fair.
So yes, back to this brake bias. Of course, when you put new tyres on, then the car reacts slightly differently, and therefore you have to change the percentage of how much braking force is at the front and how much is at the rear. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So traditionally what will happen is in the wet or when you've got cold tyres on, you would normally go to the rear on the brake bias. So they might go 2, 3 turns, full turns to the rear, and that when we get an onboard shot, we can sort of point that out to the viewers. But yeah, they go to the rear to stop any front locking, and then as the grip starts to build up and the temperature starts to build up in the brakes and the tyres, you then tend to go further forward, as René Rast has actually put it labelled as boost.
Well, this is Nico Muller with boost as well, so yeah, that's brake boost as opposed to any engine boost, although Nico Muller's doing a good job here as he's chasing down that car of Pietro Fittipaldi. So Nico Muller running in P9 at the moment. What is he down on Fittipaldi? About 1.3 seconds, so he's got some time to make up here. From a lap time perspective, you've got René Rast on a 1:23.0 his last lap. Jamie Green, interestingly, a 1:22.7. I'm interested in Nico Muller's lap time as he runs across the timing beam now. He's in the 1:22.8. So he's pushing, or is pushing as hard as he possibly can with what he has got available to him. The top 10, René Rast, Jamie Green, Mike Rockenfeller, Loic Duval, Robin Freins are the top 5. And then from 5 through 10, it's Aberdeen, Wittmann, Fittipaldi, Muller, and Philipp Eng rounding out the points-paying positions currently. That's the way it looks, and there is Marco Wittmann. Great shot of Marco Wittmann as we go on board with him now in the BMW. Can just see into the picture now Nico Muller as he gets ever closer to Pietro Fittipaldi through that turn where they get towards, well, it's the loop that loops the Grand Prix track and the sprint circuit, and then down to the back of the paddock, the fastest part of the track, and Marco Wittmann holds on for dear life. Listen to this, he'll change gear right on the apex of this turn. We didn't stay with it quite long enough, but he does. It's right on turn number 8, which is taken absolutely flat. And that's where he will have gone into top gear. Maximum is the fastest part of the circuit here at the Nürburgring. And already he's through the chicane, and there is Nico Muller chasing them down. Sheldon van der Linde, you can see the green indicator on the left-hand side of your screen says 5. That's because he came in for his mandatory stop on lap 5. At the moment, no one else looks likely to be coming in the early stages of this DTM race. We're live from the Nürburgring. Alongside me, top our Motorsport GT driver Ricky Collard to help us analyse and understand what every driver is doing out there. And one of those that's fighting hard is Philipp Eng. He's in a points-paying position at the moment, P10. But that is René Rast who's leading the race. And by doing so, the Drivers' Championship would go his way at the end of the race today. What I've been really impressed with, though, is Jamie Green has stayed within 5, 6, 7 tenths with him for the entire race so far, Ricky.
Absolutely, it's not sort of what we saw yesterday with Rast sort of clearing off into the distance. Obviously, the guys have had 24 hours to look at data and analyse all the video, and as we ride on board there with Marco Wittmann and learn from each other. And yeah, so I think Jamie Green is actually looking like he's in a really good position here. He's lapping in the same sort of times as René Rast. And there you go, Davis, right on board. 6th gear, just before they touch the limiter, down to 2nd gear. Through the far chicane. Be careful of the sausage curves, then back up through the gears as they run over the exit curb. And then into the Coca-Cola corner, which is sort of done with just a dab of brakes and a lift.
Right. We had Lucas Auer with us in qualifying yesterday, and I was talking to him on the air, and I said, what do you do, Lucas, when, you know, and I was talking about qualifying in particular, and what I didn't realise is that within the teams and within the manufacturers, what you do is you go back into the garage and you take a look at the data, and you actually overlay your fastest manufacturer's data across your data as well, so you can see where the strong points are and the weak points are. Brilliant opportunity to analyse.
Absolutely. In qualifying, they haven't got particularly much time to go through all of that. So that's why, obviously, over 24 hours, it's interesting to see the drivers that sort of they do the race and then they go home. But then you have some drivers that would do the race and they stay then for hours and hours and hours. Aberdeen is always doing this bizarre line into turn 6 there, as he uses the extra bit of track, which is a little bit slippy, so it shows he's got good car control because it is on the grasscrete, but it's obviously working really well for him, and that was actually at the start of the race where he managed to get down the inside of Glock into turn 7.
He did that. You pick up on that. He was doing that line all of yesterday, wasn't he? Now this I'm finding really quite intriguing because René Rast is leading. Jamie Green is stuck with him. Last time around, the gap between the two of them was 7 tenths. I'll bet you £4, Ricky, that gap has come down. It's now 4 tenths. So he's found 3 tenths over René Rast, and he is lapping quicker, and he's looking for a way past René Rast. So Jamie Green, who got done at the start by René, is fighting back now. And as he rightly identified right at the start of the race when Verena was talking to him, the pressure is off a little bit because, of course, it's going to be an Audi driver that wins the Drivers' Championship now. Of course, all the fortunes seem to favour René Rast at the moment. What Jamie would like is a race win this season, wouldn't he? And he can, you know, if he can head for that. Oh!
Pit lane is clear. Fittipaldi most likely stops next lap.
Ab Sportsline roll the dice then and get Nico Müller in for an early stop. Relative 6.9 second stop was not a bad one. So it's now, is it, Ricky, that he'll be adjusting his brake bias, or he will have already done it? And of course he's out on cold tyres, so what do you need, a lap to get the temperature into those tyres?
Yeah, definitely. Track temperature's a bit higher than what we had yesterday. As you see, these are slip lights that they have on either side, so they can see when the car's starting to wheel spin. As he comes back to power now, a little bit of slip light there. And then they also have the similar light structure for lock-up, so if they start to lock the inside front or
so those
snap.
2 bars of lights on either side of that screen actually tell you when the wheels are spinning.
Yes, so that's why when we watched the onboard at the start there, René Rast, you could see the amount of wheel spin because all the lights go off like a disco ball inside the car. As Jamie Green looks to the inside, not quite close enough this lap.
He's going to have a go though, isn't he? So René all of a sudden is under a bit of pressure here for the race win because Jamie Green is going for it. There's now a gaggle of cars coming to the pit lane. We've got Timo Glock in and Pietro Fittipaldi as well. Nico Müller has been in too, and Jamie Green is going for this. Not only are they brand mates, they're teammates as well.
Try to work on sector 1. We're missing 2 tenths. Otherwise, pace is very consistent.
So Pietro needs to find something in sector 1. Oh, and the team need to find something in terms of their pit stop. It's going to get mugged by Timo Glock here.
Wait, stop. Go.
Oh, what a shame.
Fast lane clear. Watch the...
So Pietro Fittipaldi lost time there because either the wheel gun or the wheel wasn't set on there properly, and Timo Glock got past him.
Yeah, that's a massive shame, but be interested to see now if we see Jamie Green go into the pits because, you know, it looks like he's quicker than René Rast, but he's just struggling to get past at the moment. But it was great to hear from the Audi team boss that, you know, they're all allowed to fight as René Rast goes into the pits now.
René comes in. So René in now. So René becomes the 5th driver to make his mandatory stop now. And of course, they need this stop to be very good.
Cover Müller and the safety car. You have 10 seconds to Müller. Pace was okay. 41 laps total, 28 to go.
So in comes Rene then, and the Audi Sport Team Rosberg team.
Müller will finish in the points.
Stand by, and team go to work.
He will or will not? He will.
This needs to be seamless. It's not the quickest. 8.9 is okay, but it's not the quickest.
And what's interesting now is Jamie Green is in clear air, so he's going to be pushing
laps.
Pushing as hard as he can, putting in them qualifying laps. And as you can just see, Nico Müller now in the background of the shot.
Now, Nico's tyres will be up to temperature, Rene's will not. Therefore, this is an opportunity for Nico to put himself ahead of Rene, isn't it, if he can get close enough? So we split the screen so you can see both the drivers together here. Nico Müller, of course, came in earlier, which means Rene's tyres were going to be better towards the end of the race. But Nico Müller is, well, where are they on the track? Nico's only now coming through turn 3 as Rene Rast is heading towards, as you can see, turn number 5. As in now comes Jamie Green. Now, Jamie could undercut Rene in this pit stop. 8.9, I think it was, for Rene, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's pushing super hard into the pit lane there, as you can see him nearly brush the wall.
Okay, the fight is between Rene, you and Rocky at the moment. Rocky has 7 DRS left, you have 10, and 28 laps remaining.
This has got to be a perfect stop, hasn't it, Dave?
Yes, it has. I think he could do it. But it depends on his engineers. Audi Sport Team Rosberg go to work then. The Jamie Green car gets jacked up. The team rehearse and practice these pit stops all the time. 8.9 seconds is what we're looking to beat, and we've done that. 7.4 seconds.
It's going to be close.
He is going to be out, and Rene Rast is on his way down start finish now. And there is Jamie Green, but Jamie, of course, is going to be on cold tyres. Rene's tyres are up to temperature. Jamie will be vigorously trying to generate temperature for those tyres. He should be vulnerable to Rene, but of course he's going to stick his elbows out, isn't he?
I think so, and you can see how much quicker Rene is on them hot tyres and hot brakes as Jamie Green is just skating around all over the place looking for grip.
The back end of the car looks really loose, doesn't it? And Rene is... Jamie pitches the car right in the middle of the track. It's his right to do that. They're defending track position here. Rene is almost welded to the back of it now as they make their way towards turn number 7. They turn in to turn number 6 before turn number 7. Jamie's on the curbs. And now through turn number 7 to the fastest part of the track. Jamie Green and Rene Rast. This is for the effective race lead.
He's looking super aggressive behind him, isn't he, as he gets the slipstream now up into the chicane.
I think Green has done enough. I do. Into the chicane. He will have done enough of the lap to give him enough temperature in the tyres. Of course, Rene's going to have a go through turn number 1. They're into the final turn now. So, where's Rene going to pitch that car to try and get past Jamie as they head in towards turn number 1? Let's watch this. This could be brilliant. Hard on the brakes now. Try and slow the car, rotate it. Jamie runs a little wider, but he's done enough. That position was won with the undercut in the pit lane, Ricky Collard.
Absolutely great stop there by the Rosberg team for Jamie Green. I think Rast will be a little bit upset about that, but the other thing we can't forget is Rocky is still out there and he is pushing extremely hard. And when he comes into his pit stop, it'd be interesting to see where he comes out relative to these two boys.
Fair point. There is Nico Müller. Now, of course, Nico effectively is behind these two now, isn't he? Having done an earlier stop. In comes Loic Duval, so Mike Rockenfeller's staying out for another lap. Loic Duval comes in now.
Copy, Loic. We have 26 left to go. We go for another set of tires. You will be 2 seconds in front of Müller.
Interesting as well to see what the strategy is with Rocky. So if he stays out for another couple of laps, he's probably going to drop back behind these two.
Right.
But then towards the end of the race,
he will have more tyre available to him, won't he?
Yes.
He stopped 4 laps before you. Keep pushing now.
So Loic Duval on his way out of the pit lane now. Here comes our race leaders. If you look at the graphics on the screen, of course, it's Mike Rockenfeller that's leading the race, and we're saying race leaders by dint of when you take all the pit stops into consideration, because we've still got 10 cars yet to stop. Nico Müller is closer. Now, what Nico needs to do is get past Loic Duval now, because Loic Duval, and there is Nico, he's using quite a lot of the Astro as well. His tyres are up to temperature. Loic Duval is on cold tyres, so Nico really needs to push and try and find his way past Loic Duval now. Down through turn number 5 then, looping the GP track and the sprint track here at the Nürburgring. And he's heading now towards turn number 6. Through turn number 7, if he gets a good exit through turn number 7, which gives him the fastest part of the track, this is where Nico Müller is going to need to do it. But I think Loic, again like Jamie Green, has built enough temperature. So as they head towards the chicane now, Loic darts to the outside of the track, and yet Nico wasn't close enough to be able to do anything. Now, if he gets a good exit here from the chicane, is Nico going to line Loic up and go into turn number 1? Let's see.
Well, here he goes. He's going to be super smooth, get a good run through and a good exit, and then hope that he can get enough of a slipstream. As Rast looks a lot closer now to Jamie Green. Does he look to the inside? He's just cut off the on the feed there, but Loic Duval looks like he's got enough temperature now in those tyres.
So Nico, it would have been coming from a long way back to try and outbrake, and he was never able to do that. It wasn't really close enough. So Mike Rockenfeller still out there at the moment. There's Loic Duval. So Nico really needs to get past this number 28 car of Loic Duval, and that would put him closer, of course, to the cars of Jamie Green and René Rast. So there you can see the gap between René Rast and Nico Müller, and the lap times between the two of them, the difference. Reminder to you that Nico Müller stopped on lap 10, René Rast stopped 2 laps later on lap 12. You can see Robin Freins has come into the pit lane now from the corner of my eye, so too has Philip Eng, but Mike Rockenfeller hasn't. He's still some 4 seconds ahead of Jonathan Aberdeen. So there's Jamie Green, not had a race win yet this year, and therefore that is critical for him. He's had a couple of podiums, but would like a race win. Of course he would.
Go. With this tyre, you can expect something for the podium.
Okay, so Robin Freins then targeting the podium. And he comes out with Loic Duval and Nico Müller going past. Lap times. What are Muller's 1:23.2. He's quicker than Rast. Is he quicker than Duval? No. 1:23.1 last time around for Loic Duval.
Be interesting as well, the pace in this second half of the race. Now Jamie is actually in front. He looks like he's controlling the pace, and it's a little bit slower, but you know, they've still got 33 minutes plus, or 30 minutes plus 1 lap to ride on board with Rast. Is there a small mistake?
What the fuck, honestly, what the fuck?
Didn't quite understand that. Did you?
No, I think we both looked at each other. I don't quite get what René was saying there as the cars bounce over the curb. You have to be super precise there and get as close as you can to the sausage curb without taking the sausage curb, because these DTM cars, you know, they're so aerodynamically dependent, and the cars are so stiff. If they hit those sausage curbs, it will damage the suspension. And
so here is René then, and in comes Joel Eriksson now from P8. Joel Eriksson then in for a new set of rubber, Hankook tyres to go onto the Joel Eriksson car.
Cars in front are 5 to 7 laps older, tyre-wise, except for Philip, pit stop light, white line.
So of course, being shown as P8, but he's going to drop down the order a lot now, Joel, now that he has taken that pit stop. Let's look at this, and it's Timo Glock and Philip Eng and Pietro Fittipaldi as they go almost 3 abreast into turn number 1. Surely Timo's not going to get turned around again. Does manage to hold on to it. We're on board the splitter cam of Philip Eng then. As Philip Eng ahead of Pietro Fittipaldi. That was a hairy moment for Timo Glock. I thought, no, he can't do another 360 there.
I think there was flashbacks going on there, but he managed to. He was well prepared this time for when he got a tap on the back.
Pit stop light. Stay on the
put him in a
brakes.
bad temper, wouldn't it?
To the rear. At the exit, you will see Müller and Duval, but they should be already in front of you. Normally, you will fight with Frins, 8 DRS and push to pass left. The guys around similar. You will get a scrub set. 22 laps to go.
So in comes Marco Wittmann then, who up until qualifying this morning was still mathematically in with a chance of the Drivers' Championship.
Go, 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 go.
That all went awry with...
Müller Duval should be in front, fight with Frins, 22 laps.
That all went awry with qualifying this morning. It was a good stop though, Ricky.
Very good stop by the BMW crew there as Wittmann comes out. We've got a lot of different strategies going on in this race, so you know, I'm expecting it to sort of really liven up towards the end as Wittmann comes out on these cold tyres.
He's going to be vulnerable to Frines, who's just going to be able to drive all the way around the outside of him. The superior grip available when the tyres are up to temperature, and that just proves the point, doesn't it? He just drove around the outside of Marco Wittmann. Marco desperately trying to control the car then as he's generating temperature into the tyres at all times. And here comes Mike Rockenfeller. When is he going to come in? He's going to be the critical one to watch here. They're staying out, and actually his lap times, 1:24.3, they're not too shabby on what are now a used set of tyres.
It's definitely not. No, I think his lap time's looking really good relative to Jamie Green, who's actually lapping in the 23 dead. So I think Rocky is actually a bit of an underdog here. I think when he comes onto his new tyres, yes, he will be behind Rast and Green. But when them tyres sort of come alive towards the end of the race,
he will have the grip available to him.
Rocky will be punchy.
Well, Jonathan Aberdeen is going to try and undercut now because Jonathan Aberdeen has come in, but the gap between himself and Rocky was probably too great for an undercut. But if the WRT team do a good stop here, a 6.9 stop is not shabby. Jonathan Aberdeen is released from his pit box then.
Use set. Go, go, go. So Eng 11 laps, Glock 7, Fittipaldi 8, Ericsson 6, yourself 9. Watch the white line, watch the white line.
And out Jonathan Aberdeen comes. Here comes Philip Eng now on Timo Glock into turn number 1. Philip Eng on the inside, Timo Glock on the outside. Philip carries a lot more speed into turn number 1, and that was a really, really good overtake from Philip Eng then. He came from quite a long way back. Timo gave him plenty of racing room, to be fair. Almost like that, looked like Timo couldn't defend against it. As in now, Ricky comes Mike Rockenfeller. This is the one that we were waiting for.
Absolutely, he's going to push the pit entry as hard as he can. A little bit conservative, maybe. Is that going to cost him as he brakes and gets down to 60 kilometers an hour as they run?
Copy, Rocky. So you will be 2 seconds on the front of Robin. Okay, you will be behind Müller and Loic. You have 10 laps better tires than Green and Rast. They are 7 seconds on the front of you. Okay, we keep on the front from Robin and then we fight. Okay.
Ernst Moser from Audi Sport Team Phoenix then looked on as Mike Rockenfeller made his way into the pit lane. Let's take a look at the times here. 7.1 was not brilliant, to be fair, and Lloyd Duval is going through, so too is Nico Müller. He's going to be behind Nico ahead of Philip Eng, do you think? But of course he's on cold tyres here, so Mike's going to really have to work hard. But Robin Frines, not Philip Eng, of course. But the very point you made, as once again as Moser looks on, the very point you made is he is going to have more tyre available to him at the end of the race, isn't he?
Yeah, so obviously he was right at the front. He was running P3 before the pit stops, and you know now he has come out slightly towards the back of the field. We're just waiting for our screens to update us on exactly what position he is in, but see him weaving left and right now to try and build tyre temperature.
He's going to be P4, isn't he? Because he got out ahead of Aberdeen, but behind Duval. Because the only two left to stop are these two. This is Ferdinand Habsburg, and behind him is Danny Juncadella in the number 23. So the 2R Motorsport Aston Martins are staying out for the moment, and they are running P1 and P2, but of course that's pre their mandatory stops then. So for the R Motorsport Aston Martin pairing of Ferdinand Habsburg and Danny Juncadella, Jake Dennis, the other R Motorsport Aston Martin driver, came in on lap 21. So there is Mike Rockenfeller, the head of Jonathan Aberdeen, Marco Wittmann right behind the two of them. So the real order is Jamie Green, René Rast, Lloyd Duval, then it's Nico Müller ahead of Robin Frines and Mike Rockenfeller. And we're on board with Marco Wittmann now, heading in towards turn number 1. And there you can see he's been in the thick of it this afternoon, hasn't he? Brilliant racing that we're seeing here between Mike Rockenfeller and Jonathan Aberdeen. And then you've said so many times, Aberdeen really goes wide, doesn't he?
He really.
That's not the only place.
Yeah, he's really using all the track, and he's obviously got really good car control, and the car is working really well for him. But it was really crucial for Rocky to stay in front of Aberdeen there, because, like the Audi boss said earlier, he's happy for the boys to race, but you've got one rule and one rule only, and that's don't take your teammate out. So
no crashing.
Jamie Green now slowly starting to build a little bit of a gap there on René Rast. But yeah, I think the big question now is going to be how much life has Rocky got in those tyres.
So Nico Müller now finds himself in P4 effectively. So Nico Müller in P4. It's not enough with René Rast where he is at the moment. And presumably, and there you can see Nico Müller. Absolutely.
I cannot pass Loic.
So he's asking for some support there, isn't he? He wants to get by Loic Duval. Of course, what would really play into the hands of Nico Müller now? Well, here comes Robin Freins. So Robin Freins gets by Nico Müller.
But again, this is interesting with the difference in tyre strategies, and Robin Freins as well could also be a bit of a dark horse in this, with much fresher tyres than the cars in front. Obviously, he's got a bit of a deficit to make up, but the car's obviously working extremely well for him as right on board with Nico Müller. Looks like there's a lot of vibration. Maybe he's flat spotted one of those tyres that maybe we didn't quite catch, but runs slightly wide there. V's the corner off, gets good traction on the exit, but...
What I was going to say, just before we saw Robin Freins go past Nico Müller, was Nico was clearly asking for some support, wasn't he, in terms of Loic Duval ahead of him. Because for Nico Müller, a safety car now would be absolutely brilliant. But not so much now, because he's got another Audi brand mate ahead of him. So Robin Freins has gone through, and clean and tidy overtake from Robin Freins. We know what a great racer he is. And he's gone through, and that's pushed Nico Müller back. And so in terms of he's trying to keep his championship hopes alive, I mean, he's reliant on something going wrong for René Rast now. And at the moment, that doesn't look very likely. And
for the point,
Ferdinand Habsburg in there.
So we'll go. Remember to use 3 times the brake cooling to get the rear better.
7.4 seconds stop.
17 laps to go.
17 laps to the left to run. And Ferdinand makes his way out of the pit lane now. You'll always hear them say, watch the white line. You must not cross that white line, which leads into turn number 1. If you do that, you'll pick a penalty up. This is Marco Wittmann then, just from our helicopter here. What a great shot this is of Marco Wittmann absolutely pummeling that car. Giving that BMW absolutely everything he can. Through turn number 5 now. Back on the juice once again. Before braking for turn number 6. And then through turn 7 onto the fastest part of the circuit, where you run down behind the paddock here. Takes plenty of curb. Absolutely flat out. Another gear change now. Thank you. And heading up towards the NGK chicane at 260 kilometers per hour. Jolly near. And Robin Freins is on a flyer here. He's done Nico Müller. He's done Loic Duval now. Robin Freins is effectively P3, isn't he? Because Danny Juncadella has yet to stop. So Robin Freins very much a danger man to watch here. He's got some gap to make up though to Jamie Green and René Rast. You can just see them disappearing through turn number 3 as he exits turn number 2. Jamie Green on a flyer as well. He's built up a 1.3 second lead over René Rast, as you can see, but this would be enough for René. And here's Robin Freins then to the chicane on Loic Duval. And of course, with the DRS wing being used, that gives him the advantage. We've got a yellow flag somewhere through turn, and it's Wittmann. It's Marco Wittmann. He's out. Oh, and it's going again. Well, whatever it was, Marco Wittmann has got the car going again.
No alarm, but no drive.
So no alarm, but there was no drive. In fact, inside the cockpit of the car, it was silent, wasn't it? He reset everything and started it again and seems to be running okay now.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a sort of Control-Alt-Delete there. That was really unfortunate because Wittmann was the highest placed BMW and running in contention and the one man that was keeping the Audis honest out there. But again, it's interesting. We look at the timing screens at the pace that Frijns has got at the moment as he crosses the start-finish line. Dave, he's nearly a second a lap quicker than the guys in front.
Well, Danny Juncadella has come in for his mandatory stop.
Coming. They pitted 2 laps earlier. Show them you're there. We're not fighting us. Fight the BMWs.
And now we
17 minutes remaining.
We get to the right order on the left-hand side of your screen. It's Jamie Green leading by now a margin of 1.4 seconds over René Rast. And as you heard Danny Juncadeia's engineers say, we're not fighting our teammates, we're fighting BMW here. So Danny Juncadeia on cold tyres. Now Jamie Green, the race leader. René Rast is P2. Robin Frijns, who, as Ricky Collard alongside me has said, is a second a lap quicker at the moment, is potentially going to be a man to watch here, but he's got something like a 4-second deficit on René Rast, so he's got a lot of time to make up, hasn't he, Ricky?
Yeah, definitely. He's got a lot of time to make up, but this is not all over. Jamie Green needs to find a little bit more pace, same with Rast, but the guys that went a little bit longer, you know, they did drop back quite a bit, but, you know, now the tyres are working, they're really starting to cover live. As we're on board with Wittmann, now the car looks like it's working again, how it should be.
Here's our race leader, Jamie Green. Goes across the line. Here comes René Rast, P1, P2. There is Robin Frijns, who's doing the chasing ahead of Loïc Duval and Nico Müller, and then it's Mike Rockenfeller and then Jonathan Aberdeen, and it's a long time before you can see Philip Eng round the final turn. So this our race leader then, Jamie Green. And Robin Frijns, you're absolutely right, he's in the 122.9s. Last time around, Green a 123.5, a 123.6 for Rast. Frijns has got pace, hasn't he?
Robin Frijns has just unlocked something with these tyres and he's really starting to come alive now. Be interesting to see Rocky. Rocky's still not quite found what Frijns has found. But you never know, you might... Rocky's a bit of a legend of the sport, and you know, if anyone is experienced and knows how to make the tyres work, it is definitely him, as Rast just runs slightly wide there and missed the apex.
He just needs to focus on staying in this P2 position. That would be enough, because you can see the live championship there, 282 points versus 225 for his nearest challenger in the points, 282, playing 225. Means, of course, that René Rast would seal the championship this afternoon. So there is Jamie Green, race leader. And Loïc Duval, Nico Müller.
Interesting as well to see that Rocky's struggling to get past Nico. Maybe he's sort of helping his teammate out, but if he does get in front, will that release him, and will he then be able to charge down Loïc Duval? But at the moment, it's not what we expected from Rocky.
No. So if everything stays this way, Rast would be champion, because there are, I've just done a quick calculation, I think there are 63 points up for grabs after this race. And I think Rast would have enough of a points margin from our live championship predictor that he would be the champion. And now Nico Müller is about to get overtaken, I would suggest, by Mike Rockenfeller here.
Maybe Rocky's now just starting to come alive.
Finding what Robin Frijns found earlier.
Yeah, you know, maybe they've gone a little bit lower on the pressure, so by doing that, it's not so good on the first couple of laps, but then it will come towards the end as we have a yellow again.
It's back in the arena section, isn't it? I wonder if that's Marco Wittmann again. Well, no, there is Marco Wittmann, and we go from yellow to green, so perhaps the car just... Well, clearly...
retire.
Marco is going to have to retire the car.
That's a great shame.
It happens always in second gear. I tried a couple of laps in first gear. It did not happen. And now in that lap, it happened again in second gear. But only turn one. Always turn one.
Always turn one.
Interesting as well, like you say, when we look at it, there is that compression there.
Why couldn't you have stopped it? would have got a safety car.
I know. Would have made it really interesting for the last couple of laps. The Astons would have been up there to fight, because they obviously went a lot longer.
So Marco then, he's through the chicane now. You'll see him indicate right, and he will pull into the pit lane and retire the car. So unfortunately, Marco Wittmann saw his championship hopes dashed during qualifying, and further dashed now with the race. He's going to have to retire the car. It was always through turn one. I think he was saying second gear was the issue.
B-stick. Get weighted.
And, well, there he is. And that's a great shame for Marco Wittmann there. Two-time DTM champion. Has to retire the number 11 Schaeffler BMW M4 DTM car for some unknown fault at the moment. Robin Freins, incidentally, whilst we've been watching Marco Wittmann put his car into the garage, 4.8 seconds down on Jamie Green now. What have we got? 12, just under 13 minutes of racing plus a lap to come. Ain't all over yet. So there's Muller, who has not yet been passed by Mike Rockenfeller, who has got Jonathan Aberdeen for company as well. Those three Audis really, really close together as they cross the timing line now. Jamie Green with a 1.7 second gap on Rennie Rast, and Mike Rockenfeller just dived to the inside there to take a look at Nico Muller. Martin has stayed at sort of 3/10, hasn't it? It's the hundredths that have changed between Mike Rockenfeller and Nico Muller. And Jonathan Aberdeen, you can almost sense he's just sitting there contemplating and going to try and take advantage of whatever hole that Mike Rockenfeller cuts through. Whether he is indeed able to do that or not remains to be seen. 12 minutes plus a lap remaining in this DTM race here at the Nürburgring. Race 2, which, if everything stays this way, sees Rennie Rast potentially crowned DTM champion. Still a great deal to look forward to at Hockenheim there, as the Super GT cars make their visit to Hockenheim, and of course Jenson Button in one of those cars as well. Can't wait for that. 1.7 second margin for Jamie Green over Rennie Rast. And Robin Freins has taken another couple of tenths out of that gap. Robin is running in P3 position. This gaggle of four cars here, I have to say, lap after lap, Ricky, they are. The gap is changing, but it's only changing by 100ths, and that's not enough. Well, Mike, I don't think it's close enough to have another go going into turn number 1 here now. After saying that, of course, I could always be surprised. Nico Muller just takes a look at defending that line, but it was unnecessary because Mike wasn't close enough to be able to have a go. Through turn number 2 they go now. Thomas Biermeier there, the team principal of Audi at Sportsline. Of course, he was so hoping that his driver would be up the order. Ernst Moser, Nico Muller that is, Ernst Moser that we look at now, who of course is responsible for Mike Rockenfeller. So Mike Rockenfeller then that we can see at the moment is running in that P6 position, but desperately trying to find something to get onto Nico Muller, but he's not been able to do that yet. So we stay on board with Nico Muller. He, of course, has got Loic Duval ahead of him. So it's Green, Rast, Freins, then it's Duval, Muller, Rockenfeller, Jonathan Aberdeen, Philipp Eng and Timo Glock, and Pietro Fittipaldi rounding out the top 10 in this second DTM race here at the Nürburgring. Jonathan Aberdeen taking a look at Mike Rockenfeller as they head towards the NGK chicane. Oh, it was always going to be difficult there. Rocky is now vulnerable, Ricky. All of a sudden, Rocky was the stronger one of the two, but Jonathan Aberdeen, Viper-like, has crept up on Mike Rockenfeller now.
Absolutely, that's what we weren't really expecting, but I think Jonathan Aberdeen sort of been sat behind him for such a long time now, and he's thinking, come on, mate, you need to get past Muller. If you don't get past Muller, I'm going to come past you as they come into turn 1. He's super late on the brakes.
DRS use. Mike Rockenfeller very, very cleverly there. He made sure his car was right where it needed to be to prevent Aberdeen being able to go through at turn number 1. Mike, of course, supremely experienced. What this also means is that Loic Duval and Nico Muller are able to escape up the road now because Mike is busy defending against Jonathan Aberdeen. This is the fight that is going on for P6 in the race.
Absolutely, so there's big points still up for grabs in these positions, and be interesting now to see if Aberdeen can get a good exit. And like we say, we see him using this different line into turn 6. There he goes, out onto the Astro.
He almost gets a bit of a slingshot out of there, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, and it's interesting as well, because then he's in a good position then for 6, which also helps him through 7, as we then ride absolutely sideways out of turn 7, up the hill and through turn 8 and into chicane.
And here comes Robin Freins. You said towards the end of the race, Dave, keep your eye on Robin Freins. His lap time. Now, René Rast is P2 at the moment, but look at this. Robin Freins is right on him now.
He's quite far back going into turn
1. There's 3 tenths
Will he do it?
between
Will
them.
he do it? Look for the dart.
No.
Oh, he had to think about it. He had to think.
Well, René Rast then all of a sudden is becoming vulnerable to Robin Freins. Now, of course, they are Audi brand mates, but we have heard the Audi bosses say you can go out, you can race, just don't crash each other.
Well, there is one rule with teammates, as you see, he gets super close through turn 3 and 4, and will he now look to the inside going into turn 5?
Whoa, he's showing his face to René, isn't he? He's troubling him. Through turn number 5 they go. Wait for the straight from turn number 7. This is where it's going to come. He's going to try and do him going into the chicane, in my opinion.
He'll certainly be getting
do I know?
Well, he'll be getting as close as he can, and then maybe he might be able to get a good slingshot out and down into turn 1. But I think you're right, Dave. He's super close. They go flat there through turn 8.
René's going to stick his elbows out. Robin to the inside. This is for P2 in the race. He has done it. What a brilliant move from Robin Freins.
And you can hear the crowd going absolutely ballistic. And now Robin Freins is released. He's now released in clean air. And who's the man in front of him?
You know what this means? All of a sudden, this is changing the championship.
Massively. And now look, Aberdeen's down the inside in the last corner. Oh, they're going to run out wide.
There are just 7 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining. This is a drag race between Jonathan Aberdeen and Mark.
He's going to go to the inside. He's going to come back to the outside. Will he now be able to get the switch back?
My goodness me. Ricky Collard alongside me said, you wait, Dave. Those that have stopped later that will have more tyre available towards the end of the race, they are going to come good. So 6.5 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap. Now, René Rast having been relegated to P3. Where's Nico Müller? P5.
Muller's really come alive now in this race, hasn't he? But the other thing, though, you've got to remember, Aberdeen is now released. He's got past Rocky, and he's looking really feisty out there. Again, he brings the car over, gets a good run through there, turn 6, and brings the car over for turn 7. And
Vincent Voss and Thierry Tassin then from WRC.
Push. He must be able to hear us.
Live championship, look at this now. 279 points to 225. Quickly do your calculations, Ricky. I'm no good with maths.
You can hear the cogs turning in my head when I'm doing it. I don't want to do
279 to 225. I don't think this is enough now. I think.
Yeah, but also as well, Nico Müller's pulled Duval back, and will he now have the run going into turn 1? As we look at our commentary booths as the cars fly past, he might be close enough.
You're right. This is potential here. So Nico Müller later braking, but he doesn't get quite close enough to Loic Duval.
I reckon this championship's going to go right the way down to Hockenheim, Dave.
I hope so. I really hope so. I don't want to take anything away from René or anything away from Nico, but of course, for you and me, we are race fans. What do we want to see?
We want to see it go down to the decider, don't we?
This is extraordinary stuff.
He's driving his heart out. As you see the car just getting away from him there as it slides. He's getting super close now into turn 5. Dave.
This would really make the difference for Nico, wouldn't it? So this is Robin Freins then, the overtake on René Rast. And if I've done nothing else, Ricky Collard, you will at least accept I predicted that correctly. I said that's where the
I
overtake was
thought it would
go.
go into turn 1, but a slam on the desk.
Must be a mayor there.
It's getting a little bit touchy.
So here comes Müller then, Loic Duval. Of course, Müller is using that. What's he got left? Muller's got 2 laps of DRS remaining. He's got 6 pushes to pass.
He's looking quick out of the chicane as well. Now he's got to get as close as he can through this final corner. But again, it's quite a fast corner, so you do get a little bit of dirty air. He's a little bit tighter on the exit. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough this lap. 4 minutes remaining, Dave.
He needs Loic Duval to make a mistake, and Loic Duval generally does not make mistakes, does he? So Nico then gets as close as he can, but it isn't quite close enough.
He's driving his heart out there today, isn't he? He didn't make the best start, but he's really come alive in the second half of this race.
This is brilliant. DRS and push to pass now becomes unrestricted. Ricky Collard, what a race we have got here.
He's slightly tighter there. He's going to get a good run through 4. Oh, he's not quite going to be close enough, but he runs slightly wide, Duval.
So Loic Duval is currently running in P4. Nico Müller is in P5. The reason that we are so excited about this fight for P4 and P5 is of course with regards to the Drivers' Championship, because at the moment René Rast has been relegated to P3. Loic Duval is P4. If Nico Müller can get to P4 by getting past Loic Duval, but we heard him on the team radio earlier saying, I cannot get past Loic. Now, what you know...
Look at how close Aberdeen is now as well, going into the chicane. I think...
Well, of course, Jonathan's in his own race, isn't he?
Exactly, and we just saw Müller getting super close to the back of Duval, but it looks like he's now going to have to start defending, and Duval might get away.
Yeah, this plays right into the hands of Loic Duval, doesn't it? Here is René Rast then.
Aberdeen's going to be close enough as they flash past our commentating booth, and you can see the graphic on your screen. Will you see him dart out at the last minute? No, he defends it off.
I don't think it's close enough. But equally, Nico is not close enough to Loic either. And we're running out of time now. We've got 2.5 minutes remaining, plus a lap. This is DTM, live from the Nürburgring, with myself and Ricky Collard, bringing you what has turned into an extraordinary race.
Absolutely, and the other thing, you've got to factor in, as we've just seen on our timing screen, Frijns is still about half a second to 6/10 quicker per lap than Jamie Green. The gap's only 1.5 seconds. He's going to be on the back of him on the last lap.
And thank you to my producer who is shouting at me, if Aberdeen got past Nico Müller, Rast would become champion. Nico has got to make that car as well. I love the WRT team. I think they're brilliant. And I think Jonathan Aberdeen is showing an extraordinary race pace. Nico's going to have to stick his elbows out like never before, isn't he?
Absolutely, and it looks like now the challenge for Duval has sort of gone out the window. He's starting to make his escape, but he's looking really wide on the exit. He's got the DRS open. He's going to be close enough going into turn 1.
Oh my goodness me, this could change the face of the DTM Championship for 2019. Nico Müller hugs the inside. Jonathan Aberdeen's going to have to go around the outside. Nico squeezes and makes sure that he defends. Nico is now out of DRS. Jonathan has got 1 lap of DRS left. Here comes Mike Rockenfeller on the back of Jonathan Aberdeen. This would play into Nico Müller's hands for Mike Rockenfeller to really start challenging Jonathan Aberdeen.
Absolutely, we've got a freeway battle now, and Aberdeen all of a sudden finds himself attacking and defending, and this is really difficult to do as a racing driver because you're trying to overtake the guy in front, but then at the same time your mirrors are filled as he does his special line through turn 6. Prepares himself for turn 7. He's all out and a little bit out of shape there. Will he be close enough, Dave, going down up that long straight through 8 and into the chicane?
I think he is, because look how much speed he's carrying.
He's going to be close enough. Will he defend it? Goes to the outside.
Nico Müller gets overtaken by Jonathan Aberdeen, but Nico's exit. You can hear the crowd erupting. This overtake from Jonathan Aberdeen would take Nico Müller out of the championship chase.
It's not over yet because they're super close as they run down into turn 1. Will Rocky actually... Rockenfeller now looks to the inside.
Mike Rockenfeller looking at the inside of Nico Müller now. Wow, and Nico runs a bit wide now. Jonathan Aberdeen escapes up the road. The gap between Jamie Green and Robin Frijns is down to 4/10. I know we're watching this battle. Live Championship 279 will be playing 223. It will be enough for René Rast.
Robin Frijns is right on the back of him. He's so much quicker as well.
But for the lead of the race, Jamie Green is having to defend from Robin Frijns.
He's going to get 1 lap to do it. Frijns has got 1 use of DRS. He's super close. Will he go to the inside now? Yes. He does it! Jamie! Oh, he's locked up! He's gone off!
Now he's going to have to give that position back. He's got to give that position back. He knows that, and sure enough, he does that.
What a good effort, though. Good crack, great racing. What a shame for Frijns, but Jamie Green has still got to hold on as they go on to the last lap.
This is the last lap. Look at Aberdeen.
There's action all through the field, isn't there, Dave?
Well, just when we thought the championship hopes were being kept alive for Nico Müller, Aberdeen just had so much pace more. And look, Aberdeen is going to be right on Loic Duval on this last lap, and Mike Rockenfeller taking a look at Nico Müller as well. Talk about hold on to the side of your seats. My goodness me.
They're 4 abreast. Sorry, we've just seen out of our commentator booth. The Aston Martins are all 3 to 4 abreast going down into turn 1. But this is the battle we're looking at now. The battle for the lead. So it's the final lap.
Frijns has got to try and do him once again going into the chicane, hasn't he? This would be enough. If everything stays this way, René Rast will become the Drivers' Championship. P3 will be enough for him. However, the race is not won yet, as here comes Robin Frijns now. He ain't close enough this time. So Jamie Green goes through the chicane. It was a valiant effort from Robin Frijns last lap around. Surely he's not going to have a go around the final.
He's going to have a look,
He jolly well is. But Jamie Green has done enough. The British superstar will head towards the checkered flag to take the win from Robin Frijns. I believe René Rast, by taking P3.
Awesome, Jamie. Awesome race.
Will
well
take
done.
the
Get
championship
as much pickup as possible.
Ahead of Loic Duval, Jonathan Aberdeen.
Cool brakes and air. So.
Yes, we have done it.
Really?
Well, Müller is on 6. I guess we are tie points when we didn't get M1, and we should be ahead in victories. But
so,
hey Champion, gut gemacht, klasse, super, danke.
Are we champion or not?
He still doesn't quite believe it.
We are champion, René. I got the confirmation. Well done, mate.
Yeah! Hey, there he goes.
Yeah! Well done, Jamie. Sorry. Well done. I was so good to before.
This is comical stuff, isn't it? Fantastic job by René, and what a great race. And Frijns tried so hard, and Jamie Green just managed to hold on.
Well done, both of you guys. Both of you.
Arno Zenzen, you could see on the pit perch, was delighted. And, well, René Rast has become the 2019 DTM champion. There is Arno Zenzen. I have to say, just when you thought the drama could not be intensified anymore over those last few laps, Ricky, that was brilliant. And quite rightly, I hope they're saluting every single driver, not only René, because that was a fantastic race. And Jamie Green was the victor of that by 4/10 over Robin Frijns, who bar the kitchen sink, threw everything out of that car to try and get on terms with him.
Absolutely. I don't think any of us predicted that Robin Frijns would do that, but I think it's all smiles down in the Audi camp as they've secured, again, another podium lockout and the DTM championship with René Rast.
DTM champion 2019. Congratulations, René Rast. He has done enough. That P3 is enough for him to take the DTM championship. And, you know, you can take nothing away from what he has delivered this season. There is no question about that. But let's not forget that Jamie Green has won this race. And there's Sheldon van der Linde going through. Confirmation of the final driver standings from this weekend then. René Rast on 279, Nico Müller on 223, and Marco Wittmann on 182. Oh, sorry. That was my excitement falling on the table.
Well, it was a mic drop there, Dave.
Goodness, what a race we have had. We'll bring you confirmation of the race result now. Jamie Green taking the win from Robin Frijns from René Rast. Then it was Loic Duval and Jonathan Aberdeen. Nico Müller, Mike Rockenfeller, Philipp Eng. Then it was Timo Glock and Bruno Spengler rounding out the top 10. Ahead of Joel Eriksson, Danny Ukadea, Pietro Fittipaldi, Jake Dennis, Ferdinand von Habsburg, Sheldon van der Linde, and of course Marco Wittmann we saw with a race retirement, regrettably. So, what a race. P3 is enough for René Rast to be a champion for 2019. He's going to be one happy bunny jumping out of that Audi. Let's see the emotion then as he kicks the door aside. Ah, yes. To the top of the car. And can take nothing away from Jamie Green either. Drove a fantastic race. And I have to say, talk about coming on strong towards the end of the race. Robin Frijns, wow. That was something special, Ricky.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone sort of could see.
You predicted.
Well, to see Robin Frijns, I mean, it was just surprising as well that we didn't see Rocky make the steps forward that we were sort of expecting him to. But the other thing as well is it's interesting to see how much Jamie Green sort of picked up his pace between yesterday and today. And he's obviously worked extremely hard with his team and his crew. And yeah, it's all being rewarded now with a great win.
He is such a great racer, Jamie Green, and good to see him on the top step of the podium, that's certainly for sure. There's René then, the new DTM champion. Of course, he'll be crowned properly at Hockenheim when we head there in around about 3 weeks' time. Wow. And there Jamie removes his balaclava and crash helmet. There's Dieter Gas, the head of Audi Motorsport, then to offer congratulations to everybody. And Robin Frijns is the man that's talking to him at the moment. And there is René Rast. Master. As René is congratulated by Dieter Gas. Well, the super slow-mos then on this man, number 33, René Rast, as we say a big, huge thank you to Ricky Collard, who's been alongside us on the air this weekend. You've got to head off because you've got a private jet await you.
Yeah, I wish, Jellyfish. Not quite, but yeah, what a fantastic race we've all been in to see today, and these slow-mos looking fantastic. So from me, it's a big thank you, and maybe we'll catch up at Hockenheim.
We'll see you at Hockenheim. Hint, hint, our motorsport. Make sure Ricky Collard's available for us. Thanks so much, Ricky. Really appreciate it. So they're the top three then. Jamie Green, Robin Frijns, and René Rast. And Jamie Green then takes a win this season. At last, I'm tempted to say, because he's shown the promise. There's no question about that. And we know what a great racer Jamie Green is. And he wins here at the Nürburgring by 4/10 over Robin Frijns. Boy, it was close at the end. But this was the checkered flag that mattered, really, for P3. Because René Rast, taking P3, has been able to secure the 2019 DTM Drivers' Championship. But delighted for the British racer, Jamie Green. He wins at the Nürburgring. Let's hear from him.
I was going to say, at last, you were showing so much perfect and amazing racing this season, and finally you got your victory. So I guess that is super special for you, right?
Yeah, I think at last is the right slogan, really, because when's the last time I won? I think end of 17, so it's almost 2 years. So yeah, it's a long time, and at least you appreciate it though when you do get it. So today it was such a hard race with Robin at the end. So I had to work hard for that one.
I was just going to say, I mean, you did lose position 1 for a few moments. So what was going on inside of you at that moment?
I was pretty chilled. I mean, the start, I had a good start, but René had a slightly better one. But I wasn't annoyed because I didn't make a bad start. And then when the race settled down, me and René seemed to pull away from Mike pretty easily. And then I felt like I was a bit quicker than René. So then it got a bit complicated because I'm like, if I dive in and we crash, then I look like an idiot. So I was a bit surprised that he pitted so early, to be honest. But yeah. So we all ended up pitting early, and that's why I was under pressure at the end. So I couldn't rest, not one lap could I rest.
No, you did not look like an idiot at any time. You looked like a superstar. So thank you so much and congratulations. Enjoy the moment up on the podium. Thank you so much, Jamie. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Jamie Green, winner here at the Nürburgring. Robin Frijns, P2, René Rast, P3, enough for the Drivers' Championship. But Jamie Green is the winner here. Race 16, victory belongs to him. Super slow-mo of the race-winning car then. And of course...
Hey, Champion, gut gemacht. Klasse, super, danke.
René Rast receiving the news to confirm, and he wasn't sure at that point either.
We are champion, René. I got the confirmation. Well done, mate. Yeah!
That's when he was able to allow his emotions to explode.
Sorry.
He becomes the champion for 2019.
Well done.
So confirmation then. René Rast becomes the 2019 DTM champion. See the media interviews being carried out before the drivers are sent up to the podium. And Jamie Green will be on the top step of the podium. What a race towards the end of the race. Absolutely extraordinary. So much going on, and well, you have to feel for Nico Müller, really. Jonathan Aberdeen getting past Nico Müller meant that it was enough for René Rast finishing in that P3 position that he would be able to take the Drivers' Championship. So, drivers being hustled off towards the podium now, and we get a shot of the Nürburgring in all its glory, and confirmation of the drivers' standings after the 16 of 18 races that we have in DTM for 2019. René Rast on 279 points. He's the champion, ahead of Nico Müller and Marco Wittmann. Then it's Mike Rockenfeller, Philipp Eng, Robin Frijns, Loic Duval and Jamie Green. Of course, still a lot to play for in terms of the points, not necessarily for the win of the championship, but for who takes what place. And there you can see Joel Eriksson, Sheldon van der Linde, Glock, Junkadea, Fittipaldi, De Resta, and the rest of the drivers as well, as the drivers make their way up onto the podium now. There is Robin Frijns. And here comes René Rast. Of course, the championship podium will be at Hockenheim. And Jamie Green, the race winner. Ollie Sittler then, the man that will oversee the podium ceremonies. And there are helicopter taking the shots, and some brilliant shots that we've had from the Nürburgring this weekend. Jamie Green to the top step of the podium for his race win. P2 for Robin Frijns. And for P3, and enough for the Drivers' Championship, it's going to be René Rast. Teams, of course, to be represented, Audi Sport Team Rosberg. And time for the national anthem.
Direktor von Borussia Mönchengladbach. Herzlichen Glückwunsch!
So Jamie Green then, race winner. Max Abel making the trophy presentation, of course, to the team. Arno Sensen looking very happy indeed. Doug Sparkman, Chief Operating Officer for BP Fuels North America, makes the second place trophy presentation to Robin Freins. And this trophy is going to be very, very important because the DTM Fan Experience winner presents the third place trophy to René Rast, which is enough for him to win the Drivers' Championship for 2019. So with the trophies presented, all the drivers will get together for the photographs, of course.
From race number 2 of Nürburgring 2019, of the second round of this year's DTM season.
Arno Sensen then down there, a very, very happy man. He said before the start of the race he was, of course, nervous. But in the end, an absolutely perfect result for his drivers. Time for the champagne to be sprayed out then. Jamie Green wins, and René Rast wins the Drivers' Championship. Robin Freins, P2. What an absolutely extraordinary race from DTM. And the drivers all enjoy their time up there on the podium at the moment. Jamie Green, quite rightly, getting an absolute soaking. Well done, Jamie, once again taking the win here at the Nürburgring. And there, the face of René Rast then. And still the champagne being sprayed within the team, quite rightly. Champagne, the carbon champagne, wiped away from the eyes of Robin Freins. And yet another bottle to be shared around the team. And all the crews move in for interviews with those victorious. Jamie Green, P1 in the race. Robin Freins, P2 in the race. René Rast, P3 in the race, but it was enough for the Drivers' Championship. Took a few moments for him to be confirmed on the team radio. He still didn't know. But when he did know, the emotions erupted. And there you can see Jamie Green lifting the winner's trophy here at the Nürburgring. Winning by 4/10 over Robin Freins. And Robin Freins really took the race to Jamie right at the end of the race. René Rast, though, finishing P3. That's enough for the championship. Congratulations, René Rast, Drivers' Champion. Let's hear from him.
So here he is, the new DTM champ 2019, René Rast. Congratulations, what a fantastic race. You did it. But one thing's quite funny, when you drove in, we could not see anything in your face, no expression. And then you said, are we champion or not? So you only understood right after, right?
Yeah, I had no idea. And my engineer here also had no idea. He was like, yeah, maybe, let's see. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? Tell me, I'm a champion or not. And then it took like 20 seconds. So they also didn't know. But it was obviously a great feeling. Even though the race was obviously not the best, but still we had a great season, and we were always competitive. So I think very strong car all week long, all year long. But today Jamie and Robin, they were just quicker, so big credit to them. And yeah, now we have some time to celebrate till Hockenheim.
Oh, I'm sure you will. But you managed to become champion in 2017 and now again. But has it sunk in yet, or do you think you need some time for that?
I think it still needs some time. I mean, I remember last time it took a couple of months. So this time maybe it's a bit quicker, but yeah, normally it takes a bit of time.
All right, but you did a phenomenal job. So congratulations, René, the new DTM champ 2019. Back to the commentator.
Thanks so much, and good thumbs up from René. As he says, it'll take a bit of time for it to sink in, but he has done it, and he has become the 2019 DTM champion, so well done. René Rast. Nico Müller's P6 was sadly not enough to keep him in the championship and for the championship chase to go to Hockenheim. But nonetheless, an awful lot to look forward to at Hockenheim with the Super GT cars joining us, including Jenson Button, of course, on the grid as well. Taking P2, and boy, wasn't he impressive towards the end of the race. Let's hear now from Robin Freins.
So here I am with a man who really tickled our nerves in the end. I mean, Robin Freins, you did a phenomenal job, especially in the end. I mean, still snatching victory for just a few moments, and then unfortunately, you didn't manage to hold it, but you did such a great job, and now at P2, you've got to be very, very happy with that.
Well, yeah, obviously at P2, I'm happy with P2, but not in this circumstance, I would say. I mean, I came from far. We had really good pace after the pit stop, close the gap, overtake René, and then close the gap to Jamie. Unfortunately, yesterday we did 41 laps, and I knew I was on my 41th lap, and I tried to have a go on Jamie. He came from a bit too far, went straight on, so I thought it was over, and then it was one more lap to go, which I didn't calculate in. It's quite unfortunate, because if I waited one more lap, maybe it would end a bit different, but it's how it is. I mean, you should be happy with P2 and move on from here.
You should be happy. Fantastic job. Thank you very much, Robin Freins. And that was it from the Nürburgring, and we're going to see you for the final in Hockenheimring in 3 weeks. And we've got the new DTM champ, but one thing is for sure, it's still going to be so exciting in Hockenheimring because we've got all these drivers who are going to push as hell. So see you then, and now here are the highlights of the race. Enjoy, and see you in 3 weeks. Bye-bye.
Yes, we have done it. We are champion, René. I got the confirmation. Well done, mate. Yeah!